In a world that constantly moves forward, there are remnants of the past left behind, silent witnesses to the ebb and flow of time. Welcome to Abandoned Wonders, a journey into the heart of forgotten places, where the echoes of history resonate through crumbling walls and overgrown landscapes. These abandoned wonders stand as monuments to human ambition. Each location holds a unique tale waiting to be told. In an apocalyptic world that exists today, we uncover the stories that time forgot.
I arrived last night and I was actually able to get pretty close to the monument, but had to turn around because of the snow. What's concerning is it's actually even worse today, so it's going to be really touch and go to see whether or not I'm actually able to even get close enough to this monument. I was looking for the turnoff last night, and when I saw this statue, I knew that I was on the right track. So the conditions are looking absolutely abysmal. I'm really quite concerned whether or not I'll be able to get to the top of this monument. For a moment there I was thinking I wouldn't even be able to drive close enough to the monument. However, I managed to get a little helping hand getting up the mountain. I drove as far as I could, but thankfully I was in walking distance. So it begins. Whew. Gonna try and be quick. Visibility is getting really poor. Then I got a glimpse of what I travelled all this way for. Through the mist, the gates appeared. So here are the main gates. Can't see much because the fog has absolutely come through. And here are the gates, and that's actually it. I'm pretty sure you probably can't see it. Wow, that is insane. You can barely see it, but what you can see, it's incredibly impressive. It is so quiet up here at the moment. Wow, this is incredible. That artwork was done by obviously an American artist, a guy by the name of Tristan Eaton. You can see the main door has been well and truly welded up, which is a shame. Man, this weather's really starting to set in. And that is the way in. So dark, there's a massive drop off, and there's a bit of a stair to the side. So I just need The reason why I've come here in winter was purely for an aesthetics point of view, but that has backfired on me spectacularly. But what we can see is what I believe one of the most impressive views in all of abandonment. And the reason why we can see it is because that view is on the inside. After placing my camera at the top of the stairs, it was too slippery for me to walk up. Under the snow was a thick layer of slippery ice. I'm guessing I wasn't the first person to crawl into this ex-communist leader's headquarters on my hands and knees. So I've managed to find a quiet little place. It's absolutely horrendous up here at the moment to film. My camera gear is freezing up. There's a very good reason why they picked this place, and that's because it has amazing views, which you can't see today. And to give you an idea of what it looks like, I managed to get a couple of photos on the way up before the fog set in.
The Buzluja Monument, also known as the Monument House of the Bulgarian Communist Party, is a significant historical structure located on Buzluja Peak in central Bulgaria. It was built by the Bulgarian Communist government and inaugurated in 1981. The monument commemorates the events of 1891 when a group of socialists led by Dimitar Blagoev assembled secretly in the area to form an organized socialist movement. This movement eventually led to the founding of the Bulgarian Social Democratic Party, a forerunner of the Bulgarian Communist Party. The construction began in 1974 under the architect Georgi Stoilov, a former mayor of Sofia and co-founder of the Union of Architects in Bulgaria. The Buzluja Monument is a striking example of futurist architecture common to many state-constructed communist buildings. Following the collapse of communism in 1989, maintenance for the monument came to a halt, resulting in its enduring state of abandonment to the present day.
At this point, I had the immediate realization that I didn't know exactly what I was stepping on, as it was ice and I didn't know what might have been underneath it, if there was anything underneath it at all. Definitely time to go back to safer ground. So clearly I'm going to have to come back in the summer to see this one. I felt it was time to go, but what I didn't realise was this building was being hit by a whiteout blizzard. It was starting to sound like the spaceship was about to take off. What an amazing place. Oh, these steps are so friggin' dodgy. They're covered with snow, but under that is thick ice and it is so slippery. Now I just need to remember the way out. And I might have forgotten the way out, which is a bit worrying. I think this is it. Alright, this is horrible. I can hardly see anything. Oh God. Alright, let's get out of here. After making it back to the car, all I had to do was dig it out, navigate down the icy road, and I was good. These places draw you in, make you push further than you originally thought you would, and that's my greatest concern. There are certain things you shouldn't do alone. It's a risk, and only sometimes there's a reward. So that turned out to be quite an adventure. I'm filming this on the only camera I have left, which is the GoPro. All my other cameras actually malfunctioned. They all froze essentially, and I think I almost malfunctioned as well. When the blizzard set in, I mean, it was a complete whiteout, and I had a basic idea of which way to go, but look, that could have got a lot worse, and I'm very aware of that. For the next abandoned wonder on the list, I want to find the most intriguing place of residence. I had a strong lead of where this would take me. And straight from the outset, my list was under attack. There's no time to wait on this one. I'm straight in my car, across the Channel crossing, and I'm going to go see if the news is true. But the name gives a clue to the secret of this location. It's actually located on a park called Parc de Noisy. When I arrived, there was somebody on site, and I actually caught a glimpse of something which I think most people knew was inevitable. Righto, so I've just had to back off a bit. There was actually, unfortunately, somebody on site. I didn't really want to mess with that, so I'm going to put up the drone and get a shot, because I think I saw something which I really didn't want to see. And what I actually got was the first shots of this place in its final stage of demolition. And by the time you see this, it will no longer exist. A travesty when you consider how beautiful this building is, and these true architectural work of arts are becoming rarer and rarer. So it's a real shame when one of them is completely demolished. A lot of people thought and also hoped that because the front facade was still intact, that there may be hope for this property. And this highlights one of the biggest problems I'm going to face, because a lot of these properties which I'm hoping to see may not even exist anymore. But unfortunately, because it's now been demolished, I have to take it off the list. And that leaves me with a bit of a conundrum. What is now the abandoned residential property which will make the list? I've been here before and managed to get a few shots, and to show you how enchanting this property once was, here's an image that was taken some time ago. Righto, so this leaves me with a bit of a conundrum because I really want a residential or an ex-residential property to be on this list of abandoned wonders. But how do I possibly pick one now when there is so many of them? My plan of attack is to head south to the Lorry Valley, which is located in France, because it is one of the most wealthiest areas with some of the biggest estates the world has ever seen. And even in an area such as that, there's a number of properties which have fallen into abandonment.
de la Motte-Chandonnier, built in the 13th century by the Beausset family, showcases a blend of medieval and neo-Gothic architecture. Its thick stone walls and moat reflect medieval fortification, while 19th century renovations added pointed arches, turrets, and intricate stonework. In 1932, tragedy struck. A devastating fire ravaged the interior, leaving the castle in ruins. Abandoned and untouched, nature began to reclaim its walls, with ivy and trees weaving through the decaying structure. A beacon of hope recently emerged as a global crowdfunding campaign united thousands of people from around the world. This collective effort raised the necessary funds to purchase the property, with plans to restore the castle and open it to the public.
So I'm at the back of the property and there's an amazing chapel here as well. I'll go get a few more shots, but the point I really wanted to make was it's just amazing that a property like this can fall into abandonment in such an expensive area, which is full of tourists that come here and spend so much money to look at properties like this. Well, not so much like this one abandoned, but big, huge castles and chateaus. So just goes to show that nowhere is safe from abandonment. When talking about residential properties, we're also talking about castles. And that's going to take us back to the UK.
There are many castles in Europe that have fallen into abandonment. First up, I'll head to Scotland. This is Buchanan Castle, and I love how the nature has taken over this example.
Buchanan Castle, erected in 1854 by the Duke of Montrose in Stirlingshire, Scotland, epitomized Victorian architectural grandeur amidst lush parklands and woodlands. Its majestic allure attracted royalty and aristocracy, hosting esteemed guests such as Queen Victoria and Edward VII. However, tragedy befell the castle in 1954 when a destructive fire ravaged its halls, leaving behind haunting ruins.
But is there a bigger castle, something which is more monumental? For that, we head across to North Wales.
Constructed in 1819 by Lloyd Hesketh Bamford Hesketh, Gritch Castle is a monument to its founder's ambitions. Originally designed as a grand dwelling, the castle was the venue for opulent social events attended by society's upper echelons. Yet, as time wore on, its importance waned, leading to its eventual abandonment. In recent times, efforts have been made to breathe new life into Gritch Castle and return it to its past splendor. Preservationists have undertaken measures to conserve its historical architecture, and strategies to draw visitors and secure funding have been implemented. Despite these endeavors, Gritch Castle remains largely deserted, its future hanging in the balance. A keen observer might notice a section of the castle that has been meticulously restored by a conservation group. This group has done commendable work in their restoration efforts, and it is hoped they will receive approval to carry on with their project. To provide a sense of the financial implications of such a restoration, it's estimated that refurbishing a castle of this magnitude could cost upwards of $40 million US. Gritch Castle is far from being the only one of its kind. Indeed, the landscapes of the UK and Europe are dotted with similar castles, many of which, unfortunately, stand little to no chance of restoration.
To give you an idea of how difficult this task is, we've come to a place in Europe, a secret place. Okay, it's South Poland, and we're going to see what we can find in one afternoon. I could have chosen any city or country across the globe, and there would undoubtedly be abandoned properties, whether it's London, Paris, Sydney, New York, or elsewhere. My intention isn't to single out Poland, rather I am highlighting the breathtaking architecture found here. However, for the abandoned wonder for residential properties, I'm heading to Belgium, and it was never going to be just a single property.
But the place which I've selected for the list is a place which really encompasses abandonment. It may not be the most beautiful, but it really does set the scene of an abandoned township. This is Dole in Belgium.
Dole is a historic village in Belgium, dates back to the 13th century, and has many historic buildings, such as the oldest stone windmill of the country and a Baroque house associated with the painter Peter Paul Rubens. Dole became abandoned primarily due to plans for expansion of the nearby Antwerp harbor and the construction of new docks. The Belgian government designated the area, including Dole, for industrial development in the 1960s. The expansion plans aim to accommodate the increasing maritime traffic and enhance the economic activities of the region. As a result of these plans, the residents of Dole faced the prospect of forced relocation. While some residents left voluntarily, others held out, resulting in a surreal juxtaposition of abandoned houses amidst the ongoing industrial development. It has since become a haven for street artists, who have decorated the abandoned buildings with murals and graffiti. The future of Dole remains uncertain, with discussions and debates continuing about its fate, preservation, and potential redevelopment.
This next abandoned wonder is found in one of the most beautiful locations in the world. I'm standing at the base of the Pyrenees mountain range, which straddles the French-Spanish border, and we're going to go see a wonder which I used to call the Titanic of the mountains. It's a little bit scary here at night time, but the light's starting to come up, so we'll get to have a little bit of a look. Wow, look at that view. So here we are, we're at the back of the station. Now you can view it at the front platform, but for me, all the goodies are at the back of this station. And I mean, just look at the thing, it's absolutely huge. It's the size of 2.5 football fields. And some say in its day it was the most beautiful station in all of Europe, and in my opinion it may well still be. I mean, it's absolutely stunning. You can see that the roof has been restored. They have also renovated the middle room or the middle column of the building, but the rest of the rooms are just absolutely dilapidated.
Canfranc International Railway Station, often referred to as the Titanic of the Mountains, is a monumental structure located in the village of Canfranc in the Spanish Pyrenees. This grand station was opened in 1928 and was once one of Europe's largest rail hubs. However, this station would endure its share of bad luck. Barely inaugurated, the station fell victim to the 1929 financial crash. Just 2 years later, a destructive fire left it extensively damaged. The tumult continued with the outbreak of the Spanish Civil War in 1936, seamlessly followed by the onset of World War II as soon as the former conflict concluded. Following the Nazi occupation of France, Spain's Franco regime leveraged Canfranc to facilitate the exchange of tungsten, a critical component in tank production for Nazi gold. The station was also utilized by spies on all sides and as an escape route for those fleeing persecution. The station continued to operate after the war. However, a train derailment in 1970 that damaged a key bridge in France led to the abrupt end of its more modest operations. Enduring a decline and neglect spanning over 5 decades, much of the station fell into a state of dereliction. However, a recent resurgence has breathed new life into the historic site. The grand but ill-fated Canfranc train station is poised for a remarkable transformation into a 5-star hotel, marking a significant development 51 years after the closure of the international rail link across the Pyrenees.
I went to have a look out the back and I noticed there was so much more to this station, and what I would find was a motherlode of all discoveries. All these different types of vintage trains, something that I really love. And the station still shows remnants of World War II with lots of turrets and bunkers. The nature here is beautiful, and I really enjoyed just walking around and exploring this place. This leads nicely into the next category. What is the best example of a vehicle or transport unit which is now abandoned? This is my favourite subject. I already know there's many good examples. Okay, so we've arrived in countryside Germany and we're going to go have a look at the field of tanks. In remote Germany, someone has a field on where you can find one of my favourite things to see. I have no idea where they came from or why they're here. It looks like they may have been Italian. I just love that you can walk around freely and have a look. And to make this list, we need something a little bigger, and there's a few mega examples. I travelled 12 hours with the hope that they would still be there. I've been keeping an eye on them on Google Maps and noticed that they actually move around. I'm concerned they might not be there. Thankfully, there was no need to be concerned, and I just couldn't believe my eyes and never dreamed of seeing these things in an abandoned state. During my time here, I was having a realization, and the realization is that these ships aren't actually abandoned. They're simply waiting here to be dismantled and scrapped. And the key to this is the way they've been dismantled and placed. But don't worry, as you can imagine, and as you're starting to learn, there will always be another good example. And for that, I'm heading to Wales. Dubbed the Fun Ship, This ship was purchased by a private group who were looking to turn it into an entertainment venue. Unfortunately, that idea hit a snag when they couldn't get the permission they were looking for, and the ship has laid abandoned ever since. It's understood that the owners are still trying to get that permission, and I hope one day they will. It's wildly ambitious, I love it, and I hope it one day gets off the ground. But for the wonder for a vehicle or transport unit, I'm going to head back to mainland Europe, because there's one example which I find to be visually striking, and that's why it will make the list. It doesn't float, but it is still a monster.
In the former coal mining regions of eastern Germany, the closure of numerous mines ensued after the reunification in 1990, prompted by economic and environmental considerations. As a result, mining infrastructure, including equipment like this, was left abandoned.
I don't know much about this. Obviously it was left here after the mining ceased, but what I do know is it's visually striking. It looks like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, and I absolutely love it. So I've arrived in Romania, it's very late at night. Come to have a quick look at the next abandoned wonder. And here it is, this is Constanța Casino. Okay, so I've just found a quiet little place to film this. There are some security guards walking around. It's very rare to find an abandoned casino for all the obvious reasons. And this was once the jewel in the crown for the city. And I think one day it will be again. Fuck, the security guard's back. Yeah, he's keeping a bit of an eye on me, so I'm gonna have to go home and come back in the morning, I think, because I don't really want to upset the guy. I think of all the places on the list, this is the most likely to be renovated. Just simply the location, the building itself, and also I've had a little heads up that the European Union has actually put some money into this place, so it looks like it will one day find its former glory, which is great news. Old mate's having a bit of a look around. The seagull's angry, so I'm going to come back in the morning and film this place properly.
The Constanța Casino is a historic monument located in Constanța, Romania. It is situated on the Constanța seafront along the Black Sea in the historic peninsula district of the city. Commissioned by Romania's inaugural monarch, King Carol I, this architectural gem was meticulously crafted in the Art Nouveau style. The visionary plans of Daniel Renard were brought to life, and the grand inauguration took place in August 1910. The casino served as a venue for gambling for 38 years, albeit with interruptions during the two world wars. It endured assaults and bombings by Bulgarian and German forces in World War I, suffered devastation in World War II, and even functioned as an impromptu wartime hospital at one point. In 1948, its purpose shifted to that of a community center, and by 1960, the National Office of Tourism took charge, transforming it into a restaurant. Substantial renovations occurred from 1986 to 1988, but the building lay abandoned until 2019. Presently, it is once again undergoing renovation.
So I've come back down here in the morning and there really is no way to get into this place. Not only do they have this fencing, they've also barricaded all the windows, including the second level ones. So if I was able to get up there, I still wouldn't be able to get in. And there's also 24-hour security guards. So it's actually a good thing for the building that they don't let grubs like me in here. Hopefully it's a sign that they're going to fully renovate the building. Walking around the city, I realise it is a beautiful city. There's many empty properties, but I feel that there's a real potential here. Cheap beers, entertainment venues, a lot of festivals, young people having fun. I've got a real feeling that one day this will be Europe's next Ibiza. Okay, so that wraps it up. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get into this one, so I'm going to have to leave with my towel in between my legs. I've actually got something else pretty special coming up next.
Teufelsberg, German for Devil's Mountain, is a non-natural hill located in the Grunewald locality of former West Berlin. The hill is made of debris and rubble, covering an unfinished Nazi military technical college. During the Cold War, a U.S. field station was constructed on the hill, which played a significant role during the Cold War as an American listening station. Following its decommissioning at the conclusion of the Cold War in 1992, the field station underwent a series of transformations. The property was privatized, with proposed ventures for commercial and residential development failing to come to fruition. Consequently, the once operational listening station was left abandoned, succumbing to a state of neglect. Despite its dilapidation, the site offers a breathtaking panoramic view of Berlin. The ruins of the station and its iconic satellite dishes have evolved into a canvas for street artists, turning the location into a vibrant haven for urban art. Presently, access to this intriguing site is available to the public, albeit with an associated cost.
Out of all the abandoned wonders, this is my least favourite, but it really had to be on the list because it's so well known. Before, it was much better. It felt like you were really kind of discovering the place. There was way less people, albeit you had to run when you saw a security guard. Another part of me feels that Berlin is such a dynamic city and this is a real part of it. And coming up here, making it accessible for everybody in a safe way is fantastic.
And it just goes to show that there is a real interest in these abandoned properties.
As we approach our final category, let's acknowledge numerous other noteworthy categories that won't be featured, but certainly warrant honorable mentions. Throughout our journey, we've encountered a plethora of abandoned industrial sites, some of staggering proportions. From vast factories to sprawling warehouses, the sheer number is staggering. Additionally, we've observed deserted schools, forgotten amusement parks, decommissioned military complexes, plus much, much more. Essentially, whatever has been built at some stage has found its way into abandonment.
For the final category on our exploration itinerary, we're delving into places which have drawn more urban explorers than any other. There's no place darker or reminiscent of a horror movie. It's time to visit the asylums and the hospitals. So we're here in Blitz, and this is one of the best known abandoned places. It's an old hospital site and it's massive. This place is very well known with urban explorers. Blitz Sanatorium was built in 1898 as a treatment complex to help rehabilitate the growing number of tuberculosis patients. It was repurposed during World War I as a military hospital and was where a young Adolf Hitler was treated for a thigh injury which he incurred during the Battle of Somme. During the Second World War, several buildings were bombed by the Allied forces, and in 1945 it was occupied by the Soviet forces and remained a Soviet military hospital even after Germany was united in 1990. It was abandoned around 1994 and has been in a derelict state ever since. It's been used as a movie set for a number of movies, including The Pianist and The Valkyrie. This by far is the largest abandoned place I've seen to date. Comprising of over 60 buildings, this drone image is only showing a small segment of the whole entire place. When we ventured over to the other side, I saw something which I'd never seen at an abandoned property before.
Despite the revitalisation of the properties, this part has actually been preserved in its full abandoned state. This is much different from seeing any other old ruins, because they've preserved the buildings exactly the way they are, broken windows, graffiti and all. Now with complimentary viewing platforms, it also has tours which takes people inside the buildings. A very interesting move, and yet another example of why Germany handles abandoned properties better than most other countries. Berlitz was massive, but the one that I've selected for the list is absolutely monumental. And again, it's located in Wales. I've spent days in this place and didn't even come close to seeing it all. This was more than just a hospital, it was more like a township, equipped with its own morgue and church. The Gothic architecture is stunning, especially in its abandoned state. It's just perfect. Unfortunately, it's been subject to numerous arson attacks, so I'll keep its name under wraps. It's haunting, it's beautiful, it's abandonment at its finest.
Our journey unveiled 7 remarkable sites. Buzluja Monument, Bulgaria. Township of Dole, Belgium. Constanza Casino, Romania. Cranfranc train station, Spain. Bucket Wheel Excavator, Germany. Teufelsberg NSA listening station, Germany. The Asylum, Wales. Each location offered a unique glimpse into the past, showcasing the beauty and intrigue of abandoned wonders.
But what is really staggering is just the amount of abandoned properties there are. In the UK, there's hundreds of thousands of properties which have been abandoned for 10 years or more. It is truly staggering, especially during a worldwide housing shortage. I really hope you enjoyed discovering these properties as much as I have. The list, of course, is going to be very fluid. I can't help but feel that I'm yet to discover the best abandoned wonders.